Financial Credit Union. Word of the day. Today's word is segue. Segue. It's a toughie. We'll reveal the meaning of segue a little bit later on in the show. All right, from word of the day to my next guest. That's kind of a segue, a lame one, but you get the idea. Many of us here at Sacramento Company consider ourselves to be foodies, which in my case just means I love to eat. However, for true gourmands, knowing where our food comes from is an important part of the experience. Food writer and author Hank Shaw has taken that one step further by going into the wild and hunting for his meals. He shares his experience in his new book, Hunt, Gather, Cook, Finding the Forgotten Feast. Welcome to the show, sir.
Hey, thanks for having me.
I got to point this out. This is one knife, man. Okay, let's be careful here. Okay, so you started your career as a political reporter?
I did.
How did you move into this arena as a food writer? And
does it need an explanation? Which is more fun, food or politics?
I get it. Did you grow up hunting and kind of gathering and stuff? Did you have parents that taught you that?
I grew up fishing and foraging. My mom taught me how. She grew up in the Depression in Massachusetts, and so they had to.
Right.
So it was always part of our family's culture, but I didn't pick up hunting until I was about 32. So I'm relatively new
okay,
at
so
it.
a little later in life.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
so there are a lot of people who think foraging is, hopping down to the local Safeway or, Rayleigh's. Explain a little bit about what it is.
Well, foraging is, sort of the catch-all term for wild plants or things that don't run away, like clams. And then
Awesome.
It's an easy way to describe it. It's plants and it's berries and it's greens and it's nuts and things like that. And then the second part of the book is about fishing and the third is about hunting. So I kind of sort of step it up in the difficulty level as the book goes on.
Now, how did you learn about what was safe to pick and take back home and which wasn't? I mean, you had your mom.
Yeah, I had my mom and my sisters.
But I think about like people who go out in the forest and get mushrooms. I'm like, how do you know?
Mushrooms can be a little tricky, but most other things are not that difficult. But the way I learned was, a lot of experience with guidebooks and with other experienced foragers. And then, I'd say, hey, what is this? And they're like, yeah, it looks like what you think it is, but it isn't. But over about a year or so, you get a kind of a good knowledge. And when you finally know what's what, there really isn't any difference between telling what an iceberg lettuce would be and a cabbage would be.
Sure.
If you'd never seen
it, so you just learn as you go along.
You would never know the difference. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, Hank, so what did you bring to cook for us today?
Well, it's sort of, we're curing, we're not cooking.
Curing.
Okay. And this
Are we in the smokehouse right now?
We could be.
We're the Second Coast Smokehouse.
We could be. But what we got here is a beautiful wild goose breast. And this is, it is a goose that we hunted in right north of the city.
Okay.
And what we're going to do is we're going to make a goose ham.
Oh, okay, interesting.
This is the easiest thing that you can do. You see a lot of charcuterie plates on menus these days.
Sure.
And this is how you can do it by yourself.
Okay.
And so you've got the raw meat, that you get. And what you would do is you would go to the market and buy a duck breast.
I was going to ask you. That was my next question.
Yes,
it's like I don't even own a gun. Okay.
No, you don't need to. This is perfect for a duck breast that you get at Whole Foods or Cordy Brothers or anywhere like that.
Okay, so you can go in. If they don't have it, can you request something like this at a?
Especially at a good butcher shop.
At a butcher, yeah.
There's a bunch of good butcher shops in Sacramento, Orangevale Meats, Taylor's, Cordy's, and there are others. So
okay.
They will do it for you.
All right.
So what you do is you just put it in a bowl like this, and the key here is salt. Everything else is flavor, but you want some good kosher salt.
Okay.
And then you just throw it all over. And what you're doing is you're making sure that this meat is completely salted.
Okay. So
and
kind of.
Yeah.
Can you press it in?
Yes, you press it in and you make sure that everything is covered. And then you can add any kinds of seasonings you want. Now this is the finished one, but this is the flavors that are in it. And this is paprika.
All right.
Add a little bit.
Do you like to mix it up sometimes too?
I do.
Yourself?
I do.
Okay.
And no two of my things are done the same. That's a little oregano and a little cayenne just for spice.
Okay,
you don't want too much.
Kick it up a little bit.
You kind of massage this in. And what you do is once it's completely covered, you shift it over to a Tupperware, just a simple Tupperware.
All right.
And then you close it up and you put it in the refrigerator for 3 or 4 days.
Okay.
And what that does is it brings all the extra moisture out, and then you rinse it off, and then it's so easy. All you do is you get an S-hook just like this, and you hook it through one end of the meat, and you hang it in your refrigerator. It's that easy.
That's it?
And you hang it for maybe 2 weeks.